Hello, I'm Bay Mud. These are all my hands, and I'm here again with my trusty Synths Deluge. Okay, so this is a tough one, as I have to confess something I never thought would actually happen. I finally upgraded my Deluge from the original 7-segment display to the newer OLED screen. I've been a vocal supporter of the original 7-seg display for years now, and have honestly been a bit torn about getting the upgrade done, as I was worried I'd lose something in the Switch, and the last thing I wanted was to add to the pile of screens I already stare at all day. So why did I bother with the upgrade after holding out for so long? Two main reasons. First, if you recall, there was a community preset competition recently, and Synths was generous enough to offer up some prizes for people whose presets got the most votes. One of those prizes was a screen retrofit. I happened to come in 6th overall, and it turned out all the other winners already had the OLED display, which left the upgrade open for me. Yes, I won it by default. So thanks to everyone who voted, to Synths for putting up the prizes, and to the winners ahead of me who didn't need the upgrade themselves. However, the second and most important reason is that the community firmware developers have done some ridiculously cool things with the OLED screen that made it impossible to resist. Back when the retrofit was first announced, I thought it was cool and appreciated that Synths would go that route over making us all buy a Mark II unit, for example, but just being able to see the names of my files more easily wasn't enticing enough for me. I've said it a million times, I already stare at small screens all day, so adding one to my Deluge had to be worth it. Enter the as of yet not officially released 1.3 community firmware, which at the time of this video can be downloaded and installed but isn't quite finished yet, so back up your card and keep that in mind if you want to test out the new features in advance. Folks on the Deluge Discord like Immers, Nicodemus, Metamir, Sean Goodvibes, and many others, sorry if I didn't mention you by name, the threads on the OLED improvements are super long, have been working non-stop on making better use of the OLED display in terms of how much information it can show and what sort of visuals can be represented. Case in point, here's an advanced preview of some horizontal menus that now display 4 parameters, often with excellent little icons or animations, and can be selected by the 4 corresponding clip type buttons right beneath them. Just remember, this isn't the final version, and there is still potential for things to change as 1.3 gets closer and closer to release. There are a few very active threads on the Deluge Discord about improvements to the OLED screen, including examples from other devices that could be adapted for use on the Deluge, and discussions run deep, down to the pixel, about ways to maximize the tiny amount of real estate. For what it's worth, I think they've done an impressive job so far. I mean, if it got a stubborn Luddite like me to give up their precious calculator screen, they must be onto something, right? That said, if I ever get nostalgic for the good old days, not only do I also have the recently released WoofBox Pro, which has 2 7-segment displays, but there's actually a mode to emulate the old display in the community firmware. You can turn it on in the features menu. Community features, emulated display, OLED toggle 7-seg. Set it to toggle mode, and then you can press Shift, Learn, and Affect Entire to switch back and forth. If nothing else, switching between them has helped me move on, like doing one last check of my tiny old basement apartment and wondering, how did I live here so long? But maybe that's just me. As for the upcoming 1.3 firmware itself, it's a big one overall with some amazing new features. My understanding is there's still a good amount of testing to be done, so I would expect we're looking at months before an official release, but you can always grab it now from the community page and play around if you want to help find any issues and log them in GitHub. I should also make it clear that the community devs are still very committed to ensuring compatibility with units that still have the 7-segment display. New firmware features that aren't specifically screen related will still work on both units, so if you don't want to upgrade, you don't have to. Just be prepared to see a lot of folks showing off the fun new icons, etc. There's also been some work on apps that allow you to mirror the OLED screen on a bigger device, but I haven't tested those too much, so your mileage may vary. Overall, kudos to Synths Audible for offering the retrofit to begin with, not to mention making the Deluge so serviceable. Also, if you happen to be in Canada, Synths in Toronto did an amazing job on my OLED retrofit and is a cool place to visit full of kind, passionate folks. Shout out to Jeremy and Jay for showing me around and taking good care of my Deluge. They were actually able to deduce a few other maintenance issues with my unit and fix them for me. which Synths also covered, along with a new faceplate, which was really above and beyond. Speaking of faceplates, now that mine has been fully upgraded, I won't be needing this magnetic overlay that I bought back when Synths released the 4.0 firmware, introducing the QWERTY keyboard and some other updated shortcuts. If anyone has a pre-4.0 faceplate without the keyboard letters on it and could make use of this beat-up overlay, leave a comment and I'll mail it to you. If multiple people want it, I'll choose someone at random. I'd also love ideas from my growing faceplate graveyard, as I'm now on my third. Eagle-eyed viewers will also notice I've gone back to the classic wooden sides. Switching to sleek 3D printed edges seemed to scare a bunch of you, so hopefully this makes you babies feel better. What's even cooler though is that these were custom made by my neighborhood pal Woodbeard, who used a laser cutter to engrave my logo into each cheek. Nice to have a friend with skills. I'll link his channel in the description in case you want to see if he'd make some for you too. All in all, my Deluge feels and looks brand new, and I'm finally convinced the OLED screen is worth the upgrade, thanks mostly to the work the awesome volunteer devs have been doing. Are you on the fence about the retrofit, or maybe just want to make fun of me for having taken so long? Let me know in the comments. So much more 1.3 firmware goodness to show off when the time comes, so hopefully this has been enough of a tease to get you as excited as I am.